Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. I'm Dane, your host. I hope you're doing well wherever you may find yourselves, and welcome to another episode. It's the music that matters most, isn't it? Today I will be talking about meet and greets. Now, part of the reason I decided to do this video, or why I came up with this video, was because about a couple weeks ago I was looking at YouTube, and I don't remember the name of the YouTube channel nor the host of the channel, but they were talking about meet and greets. And some of the things that they said made sense, and one of their primary arguments was that since you're now paying money for most meet and greets, the quality of said meet and greet should be on the same level with what you expect when you make other business transactions. You want to get your money's worth, essentially is what he said. I agree with that, but then he goes on to say something that I totally disagree with, so that sparked me wanting to do this video, or partially sparked me to want to do this video, but we'll get to that asinine comment. So, us humans in the United States especially, I think, are known for our celebrity worship. We worship celebrities. We wear people's names on the back of our shirts or jerseys, right? And I'm guilty of that. I have a bunch of hockey jerseys with various hockey players that I admire or look up to. I wouldn't say that I worship them. I can tell you right now, I used to be an Astros fan, but when I learned that Alex Bregman, who was an athlete I looked up to, but I wouldn't say idolized or worshiped, but looked up to for his talent, and that's it. Once he admitted that he cheated, I'm a big LSU fan, I threw the jersey in the trash. I can't I don't idolize. I can't look up to someone or be a fan of someone who has no integrity. And so that's why I'm not the biggest sports fan that I used to be. So celebrity worship, still the order of the day for many of us Americans. I don't think it's big in other places in the world. Well, it is if you talk about soccer or football, right? But other than that, I don't think it's that big, but I could be wrong. So celebrity worship makes me think of the big family, the Kardashians, right? I've never understood, buying into caring about the lives of total strangers. I just don't get that. So again, whether it's athletes, actors, musicians, etc., a couple quick anecdotes regarding autographs, since we're going to be talking about meet and greets. Chasing autographs, I've never been a big chaser. I've never stood in line to get an autograph in my life. I remember when Terry Bridgewater became a Saint, and they did meet and greets and photo shoots with him at the grocery store, and there was a big old line, and I'm thinking to myself, in a year or two, he's not even going to be with the team. Why bother? But I wouldn't have bothered even if he had stayed with the team, or if I thought he was going to stay. Anyway, so chasing autographs. When I was a kid, I was a huge baseball fan. I was a big Reds fan, the Big Red Machine, because no team liked them, right? For a short period of time, you had all 9 players were amazing talents. They could all hit, right? And they all had a chemistry, just a wonderful team. And it's sad to hear that Pete Rose passed away not too long ago. Anyway, and again, the cheating and all that aside, I couldn't be on board with that. But up to a point, he was someone I looked up to as an athlete. But again, didn't worship, didn't idolize, that kind of thing. In addition, I've had a few autographs. The technically not real autographs, but when it comes to the Cincinnati Reds, as a young man, 6, 7, 8 years old, my dad gave me so I could play ball with the baseball team, Little League, that I was a part of, the Fillmore Chargers, and he got me a glove that had the Cincinnati Reds logo on the top of here on the glove, and then on the inside you had all the names stamped in like a black thread or ink or something of all the members of the Big Red Machine, all 9 of them, and the manager and some other players as well. Not really a true autograph. Now, I got some hand-me-down autograph. Well, one hand-me-down autograph. I got the autograph of the 4 members of KISS, but it was Paul, Gene, Vinny, and Eric. And that was destroyed by Hurricane Katrina. I've never, as I said, never been one to chase after autographs, just not who I am as a person. But I did get Jimmy Page's autograph because I used to work in a fast food joint that was once a chain, but then only ended up having 2 stores. Now they don't exist anymore. And Jimmy Page at the time, this is the early 90s, 90 or 91, he would come into the store once in a while because his wife, or future wife, girlfriend at the time, would come in, and he would come in with his little boy. He was like 4 or 5, already has his hair down to here, adorable, he's a grown man now. And he would come in, and one day I got up the nerve. I never waited on him, but one day so it was always someone else waiting on him at the register when he came in. He came about 5 or 6 times, and finally I got up the nerve to ask him for an autograph, and he just signed a guest ticket for me, which also was destroyed by Hurricane Katrina. And he came in easily recognizable because his hair was still long at the time, all in his face. He had the scarf. He would look down as he's wont to do, and he was very nice. But I didn't belabor the issue. I didn't stand there and have a chat. I thanked him for the autograph. I thanked him for his time, and I thanked him for all the music. And he said, "Thank you, I appreciate it." And then that was it. And then he went down to sit with his family, and I left him alone because that's the type of person. That's my choice. All right, to let people alone, kind of thing. We'll get to that. So nowadays, for the most part, there are some exceptions, Comic-Con included, and bands touring. It costs money for meet and greets. I'll say this: I've never been to a meet and greet. Because it's just not my thing. And in addition, I can understand if some bands, the cat's playing with me, some bands don't want to stick around. Touring is exhausting, and now there's some evidence that's come to light in the last month or so that it's possible that musicians may have such shorter lifestyles because of the exhaustion, because of the constant touring, that kind of thing, perhaps. And, think about you're jumping from city to city, hotel to hotel room. The last thing you may want to do is stick around for a couple more hours when you can go home and catch a nap or go to sleep and call it a day, that kind of thing. Now, if you're a party animal or you're a late nighter and you're still hanging, then that makes sense, but it's to each his own, right? But I'll say this: it's hard, nearly impossible for me to admire someone who wants money in exchange for polite conversation. Let me say that again. It's hard, nearly impossible for me to admire someone who wants money in exchange for polite conversation. Now, in addition, it's just a drop in a bucket, or rather a drop in an ocean, or a quick snapshot. What am I talking about? Well, those meet and greets, they're brief exchanges of conversation. I can't imagine them lasting more than an hour, maybe 2 tops. I'm sure some of them are shorter than that because you got to talk to the next group coming in, right? So the problem with meet and greets is that sometimes, and I've seen this in comments on YouTube and other conversations, where people will glean the entire person's character based on the small, brief moment in time, the small window in time. And that couldn't be further from the truth. So they gather from this brief moment in time, they take that to equal their entire life. So they were nice in 30 minutes. They were polite. They were cool. That means they're always like this. Well, that's ridiculous. You're saying a brief moment in time is equivalent to their entire lifestyle with respect to judging their character. That's just not correct. That's a false assumption or presumption to make, because again, it's just a small window of time. So money being exchanged definitely to me is disingenuous. So what I'm saying is, again, you're disingenuous if you're willing to meet with someone and be nice to them because they're giving you money or a part of that pie, right? Now, without money, you still can't judge the person's character from such a brief moment in time. For me personally, I think it takes at least 2 years to get to know someone. From my experience, if you're around someone 2 to 3 to 4 hours a day or longer, like someone you work with, a colleague, that sort of thing, or a classmate, 5 days a week for 2 years, then you might know them well. If we take Vince Neil as an example, from history documents, he's not the most upstanding citizens on the planet, right? But I'll say this, wasn't too long ago, maybe a few months ago, I was watching some video on YouTube about bands touring that should retire, that kind of thing, and some guy posted in the comments, what a nice guy Vince Neil is. And I thought to myself, here we go again, you're applying a brief moment in time to equate his whole life. It just doesn't make sense. And of course he's going to be nice to you, because it would be a bad PR move if he wasn't nice to you. So it's kind of a forced nicety, and again, therefore disingenuous. I'm not sincere, right? If we think of the words of wisdom from Neil Peart, I can't pretend a stranger is a long-awaited friend. Another way of saying that, the cliched comment would be, never meet your heroes, right? You'll always be disappointed. Now let's get to this YouTuber's asinine comment. Again, this person was talking about meet and greets, and he made the argument that meet and greets, well, I'll say this. One of the things I'll concede with is he said that you're paying money for meet and greets now, and you have been for a while, that you should get your money's worth out of these, and sometimes you don't get your money's worth, and that's no different from, other things that you consume. I agree with that, but I'll get to where he goes off the rails in his logic. He makes the argument that meet and greets are the same as our interactions with people. He criticized people who say, quote, I don't want to meet people, referring to musicians, adding, it's the same when you go to the grocery, the mall, etc. You meet people. Again, I'll concede with respect to money changing hands and you want to get your money's worth. Yes, but that's where the comparison ends. It's where it stops. We don't idolize clerks or others helping us conduct a business transaction. We don't look up to or idolize the person checking out our groceries, the car salesman, the person behind the window at the bank, you name it, right? And we don't go to the grocery or the mall or the bank or the car lot to get a photograph with said person or have a 2-hour conversation or an hour. We're conducting business. So I could not believe he made this false equivalency. And that's exactly what it is. It is a false equivalency. So let me repeat. He makes the argument that meet and greets are the same as our interactions with people. At the grocery, at the mall, at the post office. Again, he's right in the sense that you want to get your money's worth, but his logic is flawed when he says that when he criticizes people, I don't want to go to a meet and greet and meet a musician. He goes, well, it's the same when you go to the grocery. It's not the same when you go to the grocery, because you're not there to get a photograph. You're not there to get their John Hancock or, their signature, their autograph. You're not there to conduct. You're not there to strike up a long conversation. You're in and out. That's what you move on to your next errand or the rest of your day and relax, hopefully, right? You're not there because you respect this person's talent as a banker or a car salesman or a grocery clerk. That's ridiculous. This is one of the most dumb things I've ever heard in my entire life. So it is a false equivalency to say that it is the same. You're not there because you're looking up to this person because they're famous, okay? So once again, as I've said, I've argued many times, isn't it the music that matters the most? If a musician has time to meet with you and talk with you in the context of spontaneity, like me and Jimmy Page, then there may be a person of character there. Or if the meet and greet is free. However, if there's a cost, then they don't care about you. Or chances are they don't care about you, but rather the money, so it boils down to greed. Now, remember the major theme of the movie The Breakfast Club? I do. No one is better than anyone else, regardless of their walk of life. Whether you're a pipe fitter, or a mathematician, or a professor, or a bank clerk, or a CEO of a major corporation, or the President of the United States, or a homeless person, you may have a talent or a unique gift that someone else doesn't have, but that doesn't make you a better person, is the argument of that movie, and one that I believe in wholeheartedly. A lot of rich people looking down their noses, people who don't make as much money as them, that kind of thing, right? Think of Tom Cruise, who got upset because the young lady he was married to from Dawson's Creek was supposed to play Rachel again in the second Batman movie, but that would have meant her making more money than him, so somehow he forced her not to do the film, something like that, just ridiculous. So, no one is better than anyone else. So, if we as a species continue to idolize celebrities who are no better nor no worse than us, we continue to idolize them, then we are part of the problem, feeding the egos of these people who hold the positions in so many people's eyes, the status of some god or demigod. Let me repeat that. If we as a species continue to idolize celebrities, then we are part of the problem, feeding egos of people who hold the positions in so many people's eyes, the status of some god or demigod. They are not. They're human like the rest of us. Like us non-celebrities. When it comes to art, it is the tale, not he or she who tells it. It is the song, not he or she who plays it, that matters. Thanks for watching. Take care.